Imagine this. You wake up every morning next to your wife. You both got married at 23. 10 years later, you got three kids, a $700 mortgage, and a station wagon loaded with McDonald's french fries at the bottom of the seats and plenty of football gear for the next practice. You work hard. You commute to your job in the city every morning. It's not glamorous, but it gets the job done. It pays the bills. Groceries are affordable and your neighborhood is safe. Your kids ride their bikes to the corner store every afternoon to get some soda pop or some candy for their enjoyment. On Sunday, the churches are packed. You go there for a worship service and see your friends. Maybe there's a barbecue afterwards where you all socialize and discuss your week. It's not perfect, but it has purpose. That was a normal life for men 40 years ago. Predictable, grounded, purposeful. Now fast forward 40 years and it's a different world entirely. Mortgage, you can forget about it. Most men can't even own a home without 4 or 5 roommates. Marriage, maybe by your mid 30s if you survive the dating apps and find someone who actually believes in it. Community, a lot of that's gone. Your local church is either a TED Talk plus concert or a mainline church that is just filled with old people twice your age. And friendship, for most men, that just means a group chat from the 11th grade that slowly dies off over time. We've reached a point where an entire generation of men no longer see a future for themselves in the country their dads and their grandfathers built. And I don't think it's because they're weak or lazy. I think it's because something deep down inside them is saying, this isn't working anymore. Men were told to go to school, get a job, work hard, and keep your head down. This way you can live a good life. That was what the social contract was. Trade your youth and time for stability and purpose. But that contract has now been broken. You can certainly feel it. Wages don't rise, but prices do. The harder you work, the more the system tries to take it. The more you save, the faster inflation steals it right back. And while you grind every day, the people lecturing you about privilege are sending emails about equity meetings from their air-conditioned offices. The modern world does not reward masculine virtue. It punishes it. It does not honor loyalty or sacrifice. It exploits it. And many men are finally waking up to that. They're seeing that the system that told them to man up has no intention of meeting them halfway. That's not bitterness, that's just the reality. When you spend your life following rules that are written by people that secretly hate you, you stop playing the game altogether. And that's what's happening right now, not just in America or Europe, but wherever this Western model has taken root. Men don't just need money and entertainment. They need meaning, a reason to wake up and get out of bed in the morning that isn't tied to a paycheck. For thousands of years, that meaning came from God, family, community, the feeling that you were building something bigger than yourself and transcended your current existence. But now, that's gone. Faith is mocked. Family is optional. Purpose has been replaced by corporate performance. Young men are told to find themselves when really they need to lose themselves in something that's worth fighting for. We're created to build, protect, to serve. But what happens when you remove those outlets? Addiction, cynicism, consumerism? That's all that's left. So men scroll. They stare at the screens for hours on end, comparing their lives to people that don't even exist. Curated system puppets made to demoralize and destroy the culture. They drink, they gamble, and look at memes while their souls quietly decay. And we wonder why depression is so high in current society. We tell men to open up when what they really need is a mission. They don't need therapy sessions on Zoom. They need to struggle, to conquer, to be victorious. And that's exactly what the modern world has forgotten. Comfort, that's the modern drug, the new cage. We're drowning in convenience. Everything in life is designed to make it more convenient, yet none of it makes it richer. You can order your groceries, scroll through 100 women on Tinder in 10 minutes, and have AI write your emails for you. But are you happier? More fulfilled? The answer is no. You're softer, tired, disconnected. The system knows this, and it feeds it, because comfort is the easiest way to control people. If you're too entertained to think and too comforted to be rebel, you'll never think about how we can work to dismantle this system. If you're too entertained to think and too comfortable to rebel, you'll never ask the questions why you feel so miserable. This is why men never leave. It's just good enough just comfortable enough for men to say, it's all right with me. I think I'll stay exactly where I am. But for the few men who do, who walk away from the dopamine, debt, and the lies of the system, they're the ones that have a chance to break free. Because growth and freedom never come from comfort, they come from cost. So why exactly are Christian men leaving the West? It's not because they hate their homeland, they just finally accepted that the culture they grew up in is gone. They're not chasing beaches or cheap beer, they're chasing sanity. They're looking for places where men still have a role, women are still feminine, and children aren't taught confusion. They're realizing that the West doesn't reward goodness anymore, it just rewards compliance. And so they're turning it back around and saying, fine, you can keep it. They're building lives abroad, not because they're running away from something, but they're trying to build something new. They're moving towards a new goal. They're starting small businesses online. They're learning new languages. They're reconnecting with God. They're dating women who actually want families. And for the first time in years, they're waking up with hope. Now let's be clear, this isn't a fantasy. Moving abroad won't fix your heart or your habits. You take yourself with you, your addictions, your discipline, your laziness. That certainly doesn't disappear just because you have a few palm trees outside of your balcony view. If you're spiritually dead in the States, you'll be just as dead in Medellin. If you had distractions back in Los Angeles, you'll find new ones in Seoul. In the West only works when you're striving to become the man that doesn't need to. It's key that you start becoming that man before you even step foot in another country. That means getting your money right, getting your faith life in order, and learning to live with structure and discipline. Because freedom without discipline isn't freedom, it's just chaos. When Christian men leave the West, they're not abandoning their faith, they're following it. Faith tells us to be fruitful, to lead, be respectful, loving, build something with our hands, to protect and stand firm. But when the environment you're in punishes all that, you have a choice to make. Do you stay loyal to a system that hates God? Or do you build a new life in a place where faith still has a home for you? This isn't about political rebellion. This is about your survival. Because the truth is, men aren't leaving the West. The West left them a long time ago. When nations mock God long enough, we finally see what happens when they do so. And it's not a pretty picture. Empty pews, fatherless homes, and men wandering without clear direction. But not everyone is giving up. Some are not leaving to escape the world, but to find new purpose, but to rediscover the truth that life was never meant to revolve around comfort, but a true calling. If you're watching this and you feel that same restlessness, that voice in your head saying, there's got to be more to this life, well, you're certainly not alone. You're not crazy, you're hearing something real. The truth is, the system isn't going to fix itself. You're not going to vote your way back to masculinity and revival. The system has made its choice, but you still have one. You can choose to build a new life, a simpler life, one rooted in faith, brotherhood, and purpose. Learn a trade, build an online income, get fit, get off the apps, and go somewhere where men still act like men and where women desire that. This isn't about escapism, it's about obedience, because every generation has a remnant, a small group of people unwilling to bow to the idols of their age. You could be part of that, not as a tourist or a runaway, but as a builder. The West taught you to chase comfort. Christ teaches you to chase truth. And sometimes that truth lives halfway across the world. If you're serious about finding it and building a life filled with faith and purpose, I prepared a free guide for you in the description down below. And it outlines that process for building an amazing life abroad, taking an exploratory trip, and learning to live your life with greater purpose. You can find it in the description down below. Because this isn't about running towards your past. It's about moving towards your future with purpose and conviction. So ask yourself, if your life feels smaller year after year, just take a look at what's on the other side of the noise. The world's not over, it's just shifting. And the men who learn to shift along with it are going to lead the next chapter. That's all I've got for this one. I will see you guys in the next video.